Well, problem solving is a fixture in life. All of us are going to be challenged at some point of time as we live to solve problems. And it is extremely necessary for us to know how are we able to do this. Certain problems are small, certain problems are big, and they keep on occurring. Let's take, for example, from flat tire to a product that is failing. And decision making is also important as there are so many choices for us to choose from. And with many choices, there are many noises coming from different sections. So we have got to make ourselves available to choose the right choice, because choices are the hinges of our destiny. So when you're talking about problem solving and decision making, these are two very important processes that help us to effectively function and see that we are able to handle both solving problems and making good decisions. I feel that these two processes are very important in this present age and time that we live, because we've got so much information that is freely available both in the world as well as on the web. It's not exactly a fad or a fashion, and I would like to mention out here is that all techniques evolve, and most importantly their relevance changes over a period of time. For example, we were not exposed to so much of information and so much of technological advances, and because of these things we have got a lot of choices to make. Though the problems are basically could be simple, could be complex, could be life-threatening, or could be just something that we need to decide and move forward, we are always challenged by time, pressure, internal and external factors, and that makes us feel that yes, these techniques today are new, but the relevance is the same. We need to solve problems and we need to make the right decisions. While the tools and procedure in problem solving and decision making is more or less similar, I believe that certain cultures have certain preferences over the others. Now this could be basically responsible because of teaching and learning methods in those cultures. But overall, I feel that the tools are fundamental, the techniques are fundamental. The adaptations of these tools to particular cultures, in some culture it is more relevant, some culture it is more subtle, some culture it is more strong, and I believe that very less research has been done, and there is no strong empirical data to say that they are different over cultures. Yes, I agree that preferences of certain techniques could be more in certain cultures as against the others. Well, I teach over 6 locations in Europe, and I must admit that I have found Bulgarians as people who love to chase knowledge. Bulgarians have always challenged me to bring out the best in me by asking me difficult questions, both related to professional life and personal life, and I'm really happy as it makes me fulfilled and satisfied in bringing all my experience and sharing my experience to young people. I would like to mention out here that I don't consider weaknesses as a word as such, because I believe they could be blind spots, they could be challenges, but when it comes to strength, I believe that the Bulgarian young generation has gotten it, the gifts and the talents, but whenever there are gifts and talents, you need to develop them, you need to train them, you need to focus them so that it will bring actually good, tangible results to individuals. And this, I feel that Bulgaria is in the right path. Well, definitely problem solving and decision making can be can be taught to people. It's a combination of everything. You need to have intuition, you need to have creativity, you need to learn from previous experiences, you need to experiment, you need to bite the apple to know its taste, you need to enter the boxing ring in order to get into a fight. So I believe it's both the learning process, a watching process, and observing process, and at the same time you've got to know that you've got to do some sort of a trial and error in order to come to a good level of understanding as to how to handle problems and how to make the right decision. This is a very tricky question when you talk about a team leader who is not in a position or who is not talented to make decisions. See, leadership is all about influence, and the team leader is somebody that is looked up in the team. And I believe that team leaders should be trained in order to make certain decisions. Now, when I'm talking about problems, these problems could be small that can be handled, and there could be problems that could be much of bigger size that could make a bigger impact somewhere down the line. So I believe that ignoring a particular problem or saying that you don't have decision-making ability is fundamentally wrong. Team leaders should be encouraged to search for answers, to search for reasons, and on the basis of that reason to take decisions with responsibility and accountability. And that's what empowerment is all about. Empowerment is not just making decisions, but making the right decisions with a lot of accountability and responsibility. Well, an unresolved conflict can take big proportions if it is ignored. So I don't buy into the fact that just remaining silent and ignoring a particular problem is a solution by itself. Yes, you can take time to come to a particular decision, but ignoring and avoiding problems is not the solution in the long run for any company or for that matter any individual. Well, I don't know of anything specific, but in general techniques can get improvised or evolved over a certain period of time. And then, as I told you before, that techniques do develop depending upon the rate and the pace and the urgency of the situation that you find yourself in. I'm sure techniques of old were relevant in those times, and those techniques, though, has got similar relevance, but the rate and the data and the information and the processes that help us today are much more. And in fact, we should be making better decisions than that were made before. Well, problem solving happens both in professional life and in personal life, and the approaches basically are similar. To my knowledge, I believe that brainstorming, mind mapping are two of the very common techniques that any person can use in order to come to a good decision. And apart from that, I also find out that creative and lateral thinking are also very important techniques. There are many other techniques like bounded rationality, satisficing, and then you have got the NGT technique, which is called the nominal group technique. Then you have got the dialectical inquiry. But I also feel that when you have got time pressure and when you have got difficult situations, you've got to use the appropriate decision-making technique. I also believe in the technique of the 6 colored hats, which really help you to look at a particular problem from different angles, take stock of what exactly you need to achieve and what are the key areas that need to have a very sound decision in order to take you forward. So I believe that in practical life as in professional life, you're always challenged because problems are a part and parcel of our life. It's a given fixture in our lives. So I believe that various techniques can be employed at various points of time depending upon what information you have and what has to be achieved.
Mr. Fernandes, I want to thank you very much for this interesting conversation and for your time that you spent with us. And I hope that in the future, when you come again in Bulgaria, you will also be so kind to sit on the hot chair and share with us some of your knowledge.
Definitely, I'm very thankful. I love to come to Bulgaria. I'm looking forward to my next trip, which is going to happen in 2 months from now. And I wish all Bulgarians a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Enjoy.